Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about an energy source with just almost limitless power. It's been waiting in the wings for decades, but its big break? Well, it might not be what anyone expected.
It's a huge question, right? I mean, the sheer power churning in our oceans is absolutely staggering, yet it barely even makes a dent in our global energy map. So what's the deal? Okay, let's get into it.
We're going to start with what I like to call the ocean's power paradox. It's this weird puzzle of massive potential hitting some very real-world roadblocks.
So first, let's set the stage. Our world is getting more power hungry every single year. Since just the year 2000, our electricity demand has shot up by a whopping 70%. This creates this massive, urgent need for new, clean energy sources. The door should be wide open for a hero, right?
But here's the paradox. Despite all that demand, ocean energy is still just a drop in the bucket. While solar and wind have absolutely exploded, ocean power has been kind of stuck in the slow lane. The big question is, why?
And that brings us to the heart of the problem. You see, for decades, ocean energy has been fighting a really tough uphill battle on two major fronts: the technology itself and, of course, the money.
To really get the tech side, we need to talk about something called the Technology Readiness Level, or TRL. Just think of it like the development stages of a new smartphone. TRL 1, that's just a doodle on a napkin. TRL 9 is that phone being sold in millions of stores all over the world. It's a pretty simple scale for a really complex process.
Now, here's what's so interesting. Look at where ocean energy sits on this scale. See that final stage, industrial rollout? That's TRL 9. As you can see, tidal and wave power are kind of hovering in that demonstration and pre-commercial phase around TRL 7 or 8. They're close. Really close, but they just haven't made that final leap into a proven industrial scale product. And for investors, that gap between almost there and fully commercial, well, that's a really risky place to put your money.
And that risk? Well, it shows up in the funding. Big time. In 2018, the entire ocean energy sector got just $88 million in R&D funding. In that same year, solar and wind, they got $1.4 billion. That's not a gap, that's a canyon. It's pretty hard to get to TRL 9 when you're running on financial fumes.
So, yeah, the picture looks a little bleak. Trying to compete head-to-head with cheap, established renewables on the main grid seems, well, impossible. But what if that's the wrong fight to be in? This is where the story gets really interesting.
Okay, this slide right here, this is the aha moment for the entire industry. It plots a country's electricity use against how much they pay. Down there in the bottom right, you've got the big consumers with pretty cheap power, like the US and China. Competing there is super tough. But look at the top left. These are places with low overall consumption, but incredibly high electricity prices. This just brilliantly shows the new strategy: stop trying to sell water to the well.
And the experts are all over this. This quote nails it. The future isn't necessarily about powering massive cities. The real, juicy opportunity lies in these smaller, specialized, non-utility markets.
So, if ocean power isn't going to be lighting up New York City tomorrow, what is it going to do? Let's look at the new jobs it's perfectly suited for, right now. We're going to quickly explore a few key areas where ocean energy isn't just another competitor, it's actually the best possible solution. We're talking about places like remote islands, making fresh water, powering offshore platforms, and even helping out in disaster recovery. Let's see how it works.
First up, remote islands. For hundreds of small island developing states, electricity comes from diesel that's shipped thousands of miles. It's crazy expensive, it's polluting, and it's not even reliable. All while they're literally surrounded by a source of clean, predictable power.
And these nations are hungry for a change. Look at this chart. It shows the growth in renewable capacity these island nations are already building. They have these incredibly ambitious goals, which creates a ready-made market that is actively looking for the exact kind of local, resilient power that waves and tides can deliver.
Okay, next up, making fresh water from salt water. Desalination is a miracle of modern tech, but it takes a ton of energy. The logic here is just beautiful in its simplicity. You use a device floating in the ocean to power a machine right there on the coast that turns that exact same ocean water into drinking water.
And this is not a small market. As you can see, the global demand for desalination is just skyrocketing because of growing water scarcity. Ocean power is perfectly located to serve this massive energy-hungry industry. It's just a natural partnership.
Market number 3 is one you might not expect:
offshore oil and gas platforms. They have a huge need to decarbonize their own operations. So instead of burning gas out in the middle of the ocean, they can use clean, reliable ocean power. This is a high-value customer with an urgent problem that Ocean Energy is perfectly built to solve.
Okay, so we've seen the new strategy. It's all about finding these niche markets where ocean power provides huge value, and this completely reframes how we should be thinking about its future.
And to be clear, the technology is making real progress. The Maygen Tattle project in Scotland, for instance, has generated over 17 gigawatt-hours of electricity. That is a fantastic engineering achievement. But on a global scale, it's still tiny.
But here's the crucial point. This map of European electricity prices shows that a megawatt-hour in Norway is worth way less than one in Malta. The value of energy is radically different depending on where you are. So that 17 gigawatt-hours from Maygen might be a drop in the ocean globally, but for a remote community paying a fortune for diesel, a similar amount of power would be a tidal wave of change.
And that, right there, is the key takeaway. The story of Ocean Energy is no longer about some slow-moving giant trying to compete with solar and wind everywhere. It's a story of smart, strategic adaptation, of finding the specific places and the specific problems where its unique strengths make it the undisputed champion.
You know, it's a powerful lesson in innovation that goes way beyond just energy. It kind of makes you wonder, what other world-changing ideas are out there, just waiting for their chance to succeed? Not by going big, but by starting in just the right small place. Thanks for tuning in.